There are teams, though, with fewer than 1 point, and that's Everton with 0 points, Pete. 0 points through 3 matches, blowing that 2-0 lead late on in the game, setting records that you don't necessarily want to set. What do you think about their chances to stay up after those first 3 matches?
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to panic just yet at Everton. They had a similar start last season, I think. They lost 4 of their opening 5 games before turning things around, and obviously without those points deduction, they probably would have finished quite high up in the Premier League table. I think those points deductions weren't enforced on Everton. They would have finished level on points with Brighton last year, so I don't think Everton will be worrying just too much right now, but obviously it's concerning, especially the manner of that defeat at Bournemouth. 2-0 up with just a few minutes remaining to lose that game will be a hard one to take, as Paul would say. The feeling in the dressing room after that must have been lower than a snake's belly for all the players. They had that game won. They threw it away, and Bournemouth went and nicked the points as well. The other 2 games, Brighton obviously went and got a good result, 3-0. And then obviously away to Spurs was always going to be a tough game, and they came undone there 4-0 as well. Probably the real alarming fact for Sean Dyche right now will be the goals conceded, because he's so proud of his defensive record wherever he's been, that he makes his teams hard to beat. He sets them up to really be quite defensive as well. So to concede 10 goals in the first 3 games is concerning, but as I said, like Paul said, I don't think there's you can't really judge things too much after just 3 games and into the season as well. The international breaks probably come at the right time for Everton to reset, and then they'll tackle it head on. And as I said, it's pretty similar to what happened last season, so they'll be hoping history repeats itself and they can find a bit of form when they come back after the international break.
For sure. And Paul, do you think Sean Dyche might be on the hot seat? I mean, I think most of us from the outside looking in believe in Sean Dyche and his ability to keep any team up in the Premier League, but obviously Premier League owners are tend to be a little bit quick to fire managers.
Listen, the big thing for Everton is to stay in the Premier League, because we all know about the ownership off the field, the takeover bids that could potentially go, and I think if Everton were to be relegated, it would be disastrous for the club, especially moving into the new stadium. So let me phrase it another way. If you're to sack Sean Dyche, who are you going to go and look for? Somebody like Sean Dyche to keep you in the Premier League. So no, you've got the right man in charge for sure. You've got the right man in charge. You look up with the way he galvanised that team over the last 2 seasons. You look at the results that he pulled out at certain times. It wasn't pretty to watch at times, but results were got, and he kept the team in the Premier League. I just think it would be a really unwise move at the moment to even question it. Because like I said, if you get rid of him, who are you looking for? You're looking for somebody with his credentials to work on a budget with a small squad to keep a team in the Premier League. You've got the very best. Stick with what you've got and trust him.
For sure. And Pete, Paul mentioned who would you go for? Well, there are rumors that David Moyes could be returning to Goodison Park 11 years later. Are there truth to these rumors as a potential replacement for Sean Dyche?
It would be a shock, I think, if David Moyes was to return to Everton. I'm sure he still has a lot of admirers in the fan base, and also maybe in the boardroom at Everton as well. But I don't think there'll be any knee-jerk reactions from the Everton board and possibly sack Sean Dyche. As Paul said there, where would Everton be without Sean Dyche in these last 2 years? The amount of stuff that he's had to deal with on and off the pitch. They've had to sell their best players. They've been fighting points deductions. So the job he's done at Goodison Park is pretty remarkable to ensure that they haven't suffered relegation. David Moyes, obviously, I'm sure he's had his time at West Ham. He's now having a bit of a break. I'm sure he'll be looking to get back into management at some point. Sometimes they always say never go back, and I think that could be a case with David Moyes at Everton. He had such a great time there before. Maybe he wants to try something else if he is to come back into management. And as I said, I don't think Everton right now would be making the right decision if they panicked and thought, right, we need to sack Sean Dyche if we were to change things. And the other thing in the background on all this, I don't see any changes going on at Everton, especially manager-wise, when they're still trying to sort out the ownership. No new ownership's gonna just come in and see a manager be changed before they take over. So maybe something after when the ownership does get ratified, could there be a change of management then? But I don't think there's anything imminent right now.